24-hour news source, WKRG TV 5.
As American troops get ready to go to war, Americans back home stand vigil tonight, praying for peace. Hello, everyone. I'm Mel Showers.
And I'm Kellie Jones. The eyes are on the clock because in 1 hour, the deadline for Iraq to get out of Kuwait or face military action is up, 12 midnight Eastern Time. So far, Iraq is not blinking, and neither is the President of the United States. In a last-ditch effort for peace, the United Nations Secretary General begged the Iraqi leader to get out of Kuwait to avoid a bloody conflict. He says if they withdraw, there will be no war. No response from Iraq tonight. And tonight, we hope you stay tuned to WKRG after our newscast, because at 10:30, CBS will have a special updated report on the Persian Gulf situation.
It has been a day of intense demonstrations all over this country and also in Baghdad. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqis marched through the capital today shouting victory to Saddam. Women carrying AK-47s and rifles yelled, "We will die for you." Today's protest was called a day of courage in Baghdad. Meanwhile, in this country, there were anti-war demonstrations outside the White House, the United Nations, college campuses, and federal buildings. Some are on the streets tonight. National Park Police arrested more than 24 demonstrators on the sidewalk in front of the White House today.
And if you don't feel the anxiety about the possibility of going to war, all it takes is to talk to the wives, the husbands, and the children of our military personnel in the Persian Gulf. Annie Ludgood visited with the families of the 129th Medical Group tonight. She says it was a night of prayer and hopes for peace.
The mood was somber as the families of the 129th Medical Unit prayed for their loved ones who are part of Operation Desert Shield in Saudi Arabia. The families are apprehensive of what the next few hours may bring, so they gather to give each other comfort and support for whatever lies ahead.
We have a lot of fear right now, uncertainty, and of just not knowing really what's going to take place.
We're all going through the same things. You have someone to relate to.
Someone else to talk to that understand what you're going through.
Jimmy and Nancy Gamage have a son in Saudi Arabia with the 129th Medical Unit. They say they're praying for Dell's safe return.
He just started college and had to drop out and go over, but he understands it. He's accepted it.
And their 7-year-old daughter, Christy, understands some of what's going on, but not all.
Our principal came on the speaker and talking about it.
The families here all have something in common. Their loved ones in Saudi Arabia. They met to discuss ways to help each other through the bad times. Since peace initiatives have failed, those gathered here are now hoping if there is a war, the U.S. will strike quickly, bringing a prompt end to the conflict. Annie Ludgood, NewsCenter 5.
And they weren't the only ones who gathered together tonight to pray for peace.
In Mobile, several churches conducted special services and prayers for the safety of American soldiers. 2 locations where services were held today included the Trinity Episcopal Church and the daily noon Mass at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. Attendance at the daily Mass is nearly doubled, and special prayers were offered today for world peace. At Trinity Episcopal, this was the 2nd day that Father Kennington led a special prayer service. Many churches will be holding services tomorrow. Contact your church for further information.
Of course, our military leaders say our troops in Saudi Arabia will be ready for whatever order President Bush issues. One of those young men is the son of Kathy McIntyre. Reginald McIntyre is assigned to a construction battalion of the United States Navy. He's a graduate of Williamson High School. In his letter, he writes, "There's a lot of talk around the camp that we will be moving closer to the front line." It was Sunday when he wrote this letter. "I'm going to church," he says. "Everyone really misses home. We try not to think about it since we're so far away." We want to thank Mrs. McIntyre for sharing her letter with us tonight.
Fear of war in the Persian Gulf region is having an impact on the way we do business in this country. Some nervous investors and travelers are rethinking their plans. And Mark Tomo reports that's happening in Mobile.
Really, there's not, if we were going to change something, the time to change is when everything looks really rosy.
Investment broker Judy Shirk is telling clients Ron and Wanda Dyer why selling their stocks these days might not be a sound investment strategy. As war in the Persian Gulf appears inevitable, some stock speculators are selling big. But Shirk says long-term investors should hold on to stocks as long as they had originally planned.
Now that might be a month, it might be a year. Whatever that investment horizon should be, we should be thinking in long term, and by that I mean a year or more.
Of course, I'm a little bit jittery about it, but I don't see any reason to make any changes.
Most of our investments now are for the long term. We're trying to invest for the future. And if the stock market does drop some, we're not going to panic.
Today, the Dow Jones Industrials closed up over 6 points. And while local investors and their brokers are not scared by events in the Middle East, the same cannot be said about those in the travel industry. Bill Hardy owns Executive Travel in Mobile, and he says nervous clients are thinking twice before making trips to overseas destinations. In fact, Hardy himself has chosen to forfeit a $20,000 trip.
I was scheduled to go on a trip to Hong Kong, and my wife and I just decided we did not want to be out of the country if something happened away from our 4 children. So we canceled our trip to Hong Kong.
Mark Toma, NewsCenter 5.
In case you plan to fly out of Mobile's airport, security is much tighter. All airports in the country have been ordered to be on the lookout for possible terrorist action.
Coming up next, a gang of bad check artists are striking here right along the Gulf Coast.
And later we'll tell you what happened when a tornado touched down near a Florida school. NewsCenter 5 will continue for Robertsdale, Sims, and Pensacola Beach.
There's still a lot of people with a lot of misunderstandings about introduction services, even today. And we still get calls from people who think we'll get them an escort or a date for the evening, and that's just not us. Thank goodness, committed, honest relationships have not gone out of style. There really are people out there who still believe in a solid, loving relationship, and we only accept people with that kind of commitment. They really are out there. They're just having a hard time finding each other. And that's where we come in. That's our job.
Why spend thousands on a new car when all you really need is an engine or transmission replaced? Sound expensive? Not when you buy from your friendly, barely used auto parts dealer. Your barely used auto parts dealer can save you hundreds of dollars over a new or rebuilt engine, transmission, or other drivetrain components. Your car will run like new, and you'll save thousands at the barely used auto parts dealer nearest you.
Available at All American Automotive, 8 Mile, Gary's Auto Salvage, Fort Walton Beach, Mobile Import Salvage, Mobile, and University Auto Recyclers, Pensacola.
There's a change taking place in Pascagoula, right over on Market Street. They're working long and hard. Your no rigmarole dealer, Estabrook Lincoln-Mercury, is now Estabrook Toyota Pontiac Lincoln-Mercury. The same people who brought you the tremendous service, quality product, and unbeatable prices of Lincoln-Mercury now offer more with the addition of Toyota and Pontiac.
You can count on the same no rigmarole deal with a great selection of automobiles and trucks.
Estabrook Toyota Pontiac Lincoln-Mercury, Market Street, Pascagoula.
Police on the Gulf Coast are trying to track down a roving gang of bad check writers who've ripped off stores from Tampa to Dallas. Tonight, as Clay Loney reports, they've hit our area too, and investigators believe they will be back.
The 3 people who walked in this store and cashed over $1,000 in bad checks were no amateurs, say investigators and the man who handed over the money.
No, not at all. They were good. And I'm sure they could do it again.
Escambia County investigator Barbara Kersey has no doubt about it. This was one of the bogus checks used to rip off stores in the Pensacola area. The name of the business was made up, but it looked authentic, and so did the address. And even the phone number checked out.
They had set it up with an answering service. So when you called the number, a lady would answer, no, Mr. So-and-so's not in.
But as you'll see, the account numbers look great. The check number looks good. Everything about the check looks authentic.
Investigators in at least 6 southern states are looking for 4 men and 2 women they suspect are part of a highly organized gang of thieves. But police believe the people pictured here specialize in producing counterfeit business checks. Fake IDs like these have been used to cash checks from Texas to Florida to Virginia, including Pensacola and Mobile.
So what I think it is, probably 1 female and a male at different times, and like our male just come in and hit and run. But they're all definitely working together.
Authorities say the thieves have a pattern of leaving an area after only a day or 2, but come back to repeat the scam every 3 or 4 months. Clay Loney, NewsCenter 5.
Authorities say if you've seen any of the suspects, please call local police.
And tonight, Crimestoppers is hoping you can help locate this woman, and if you can, there is a cash reward. Cheryl Ann Dotson also goes by the alias Cheryl Ann Deffies. She's wanted on theft of property charges. She's 26 years old, 5'4", and 180 pounds. Her last known address was on Viola Avenue in Saraland. If you know of the whereabouts of this woman, call Crimestoppers at 434-7000.
Tornadoes cut through South Florida this afternoon, smashing windows and doors in an elementary school, ripping through a small airport and damaging homes. The first twister touched down near Sylvania Heights Elementary School in West Miami, injuring a teacher caught outside. Principal Lucy Williams says about 30 children were outside waiting on parents to pick them up at dismissal time when the instructor spotted the oncoming tornado. The teachers rushed the kids inside, but one teacher was picked up and dropped by the twister. She received minor injuries.
There was another one, too, at Hialeah, and it tore the roof off a warehouse building there. Now, these tornadoes are really part of the same weather system that went through here today, but the energy ended up in South Florida, and we can be thankful of that.
I think so.
And I'll tell you how the weather will be on the mend in just a minute.
There's only one place to see the future best of the NFC go head-to-head with the future best of the AFC. Don't miss the future best of the NFL live.
Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl. Get your tickets now.
Not long ago, getting a drink was Tom's only goal. But today, as a youth league basketball coach, he's helping kids reach their goals. People with alcohol or other drug problems can be helped and go on to contribute something positive. So don't lose hope. If you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
If you have news or a problem, contact 5 at 471-6397.
Solid things. Pride. Dedication. Andersen windows and patio doors are built to stand the test of time.
Through the desert sun, through the Georgia rain, on the shores of California, across the Texas plains. Andersen, build your dreams of solid things. We'll build tomorrow in. Come home to quality. Come home to Andersen.
A local radar continues to show some rain in the area. One band of showers between Laurel and Chatham, and another band south of Fort Walton Beach out into the Gulf waters, about 120 nautical miles. These are moving in a northeast direction, so that one south of Fort Walton Beach still could produce a shower along the coast tonight. Now, we're looking at the satellite photo to begin with. Bright clouds along the central Gulf Coast with those few remaining showers. Still some heavy showers in South Florida, and the bulk of the heavier shower activity in the Southland has been generally through the mid-south tonight, again moving in a northeast direction, associated with an area of low pressure, which is now located in Arkansas. There's clear skies still along the eastern seaboard, but a lot of disturbed weather will gradually move in that direction tomorrow. We'll clear off here. In fact, we should see some glorious weather tomorrow with a lot of sunshine. And then moving ahead to Thursday, a weak low-pressure system moves along the Texas coast. That may increase our cloud cover for Thursday, but we should still retain rain-free skies. Let's check the current conditions. We're in the 50-degree range still. Relative humidity is high. Pressure is generally steady. Winds are southerly, southwesterly, and southeasterly at points along the coast. Our highs today were in the middle 60s. Morning lows this morning between 48 and 52 degrees, and rainfall has run from about a half inch to about 1 1/4 inches. 78's the record high, 20 our record low for this date. Gulf water temperature is 55 degrees, 56 on land at Fort Walton Beach, down to 46 already at Montgomery, a 53-degree reading at Hattiesburg. McIntosh tonight, my weather spotter, Bill Kellie, reports 54 degrees. At Navarre in northwest Florida, Frank Castonguay has a reading of 56 tonight. And the projected lows, well, quite mild. In fact, we'll stay in the 50s tonight, probably around 52 degrees for a bottomed out low, but it'll be chilly still in the north central United States, where we'll see a lot of zero weather. Out in the Gulf waters, rough conditions, a small craft advisory remains in effect. And my forecast for tonight is for the rain to gradually end, has at most points already. Look for a low of about 52, and then tomorrow, partly cloudy, a pleasant day, should be nice, with 62 for a high. And I'll be right back with my 5-day forecast, and later we'll tell you what happened today in the trial of a county deputy accused of extorting money from a house of prostitution.
In December, Bob Mandal Mazda and Bob Mandal Nissan sold hundreds of cars and trucks by arranging a special finance plan. To help you, we've extended this limited time offer. If you're over 19, have a steady job, and any established credit, we can help you own the car or truck you've been wanting. You may even qualify with no down payment. If you've been told you can't buy, we believe we can help. We're serious. This is your chance to buy at Bob Mandal Nissan or Bob Mandal Mazda now.
Once again, I ask for your support for Catholic Charities, which last year gave help to over 60,000 individuals and families in our part of Alabama. Your gift will feed and clothe the needy, counsel the troubled, care for the sick and elderly, give a home to the homeless. These things are signs of love, and love never fails to give. Please pledge on Catholic Charities Sunday, January 27th. Please love, please give.
In about an hour, you can get a desirable new look, a glowing look, an approachable look. In about an hour, get the one look that's right for you at Eyemasters Optical Superstore with eyewear specialists to help and in-store labs, so even no-line bifocals and trifocals are ready in about an hour. For the look you've been looking for, in about an hour, get a better look at Eyemasters. Buy one, get one free, or we'll pay up to $40 for your eye exam.
Well, one thing, Kelly, in the 5-day forecast, we look like, now we're done with the rain for a while. I am glad to see that. Generally, a partly cloudy situation through Sunday. Now, for Senior Bowl, I want to point this out. A daytime high about 55, an overnight low about 35. And, you know, actually, that should be almost ideal weather.
Good football weather.
Yeah,
That's
perfect
right.
weather.
A lot of folks will be there, too.
I think a lot of us will be at Senior Bowl. And it's going to be a kickoff at 11 o'clock, I think.
That's right. Thanks, Bob.
We thank you very much, Bob. When it rains, the trash pours on Dog River. And tonight we have an update on efforts to do something about it. There was a large turnout tonight for a meeting of the Friends of Dog River organization. Their goal is to coordinate an effort to clean up the very popular waterway. Organizer Gary Power says he was pleased with the response.
It tells me that a lot of people are really concerned about this. And if we can have this kind of turnout in our cleanup, we're doing something with the community.
Over 100 people turned out for the meeting tonight at the Elks Lodge on Dauphin Island Parkway.
Tomorrow, a sheriff's deputy accused of extorting money from a house of prostitution is expected to hear from the federal jury hearing his case. Donald Smitherman stands accused of taking thousands of dollars in payoff money from a local prostitution business. Smitherman took the stand in his own defense today to say the money was a gift from friends. But in scathing closing arguments, the government prosecutor told jurors, quote, "You learned a lot about how a dirty cop operates." But Smitherman's attorney says they've got it all wrong, that he was set up by people he considered friends. Now, among those waiting for a verdict is Sheriff Tom Purvis. He says the trial has convinced him present state laws against prostitution are not enough to deal with prostitution. He says they will increase efforts to more effectively use what laws are now available. And while he says the verdict isn't in on Donald Smitherman, he says one thing is already apparent.
He admitted, I believe, that that he was friends with these people, with that woman in our business.